what is going on, my friends? We are back. We're here with another one. What are we doing today? All right. Well, today we're gonna be talking some college football. You know what I mean? We just did the NFL yesterday. As I'm recording this, we finished up the predictions over there. In fact, I think we gave a couple playoff spots that we think are gonna happen as well. And I'm all here for it. You know what I mean? I'm all here for it. I think we did a pretty good job with that. Well, today we're gonna go over to college football 25 and 26. Yeah, we're going to go over what I think is going to happen over there as well. Obviously, college football 26 just came out. Definitely play. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Last time I put it over here. I think that might have been a little bit of an issue, so we're going to try it on this side, on this one. But what we're going to quickly do, we're going to go through conferences. We're going to go through the Power Four, though. That is what we're going to do in this video. If you would like to see more, if you'd like to see me talk about the G5 a little bit, I will do as much studying as I possibly can for that for you, and we will do that on the next one. But you know, like, comment, and subscribe because I appreciate y'all so much. If you give me a minute, I love you for life. Thank you much. Let's get right into it. All right, we're going to start with the Big Ten. Now, when it comes to the Big Ten football, I think the best case scenario is we go with the Ohio State Buckeyes. By the way, how I'm going to probably do this, I think I'm going to just do a top five for you guys in each conference and how I want to do things. For me, Ohio State Buckeyes, they didn't lose enough. In fact, I think the team is very phenomenal. And maybe they did take a big losses. They took Will Howard as a loss. They took Jack Sawyer, who was a big part of, but they still have Caleb Downs. They have that new guy coming in, Julian Sand. I believe he's the freshman redshirt. I don't know if he's going to be the starter, but as far as I know, he will. Jeremiah Smith, obviously an absolute dog, and Sonny Styles is also over there for them. Do I think that team's going to do just fine? Absolutely. Quarterback play might be a little bit of an issue that could cost him a loss or two, but in today's college football, a loss or two does not take you out of the playoffs, as we saw that plenty just last year. I think we're going to rock with Ohio State to win the Big Ten, so we're going to rock with Ohio State, number one. Number two, we're going to go with the Oregon Ducks. Now, I don't necessarily understand why we're going to keep going with the Oregon Ducks, but I think it's just because of coaching, right? Because I've been thinking it over all day long. I've been like, wait, why am I doing this? Why am I picking them to win? Well, I think that Dan Lanning's just a good enough coach to get the job done, and that's exactly what he's going to do. I think that this team's going to be competitive. I think they're going to be good. Oregon's offense is always an absolute powerhouse for some reason. It just continues to be that way every single time. Their defense might take some steps in the wrong direction, but other than that, Oregon, they're going to be a well-coached team. They're going to be a well-programmed team. They're going to be up there competing. And to that area, I'm going to put Oregon as the second best team in the Big Ten right at this moment. Number three, I can't be wrong here, right? It's going to have to be the Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, there's two teams I want to argue with here, and in that fourth spot. But we'll quickly talk to Penn State Nittany Lions because they do have Drew Aller coming back. They still have Tony Rojas, A.J. Harris, Zakee Wheatley. Like, these guys can play a little bit of football. They're going to be just fine in those kind of cases. Now, I don't know if Penn State is ever going to be able to get over that hump. The issue with Penn State is that they seem to struggle when the lights are on the brightest. They did get a couple of victories in college football playoff, but I don't know if anybody is still really completely sold on that they can win these big games. James Franklin has been a pretty solid head coach. Can he get them to that promised land? I definitely think that there's a possibility. I definitely think that they're going to be a playoff team. Now, number four over there in the Big Ten is got to be the Michigan Wolverines, because we know what they're going to do. We know that their defense is going to be solid. We know that they're going to try to run the football. We haven't lost who Sharon Moore learned from. He learned from Jim Harbaugh. They had a little bit of things going their way, right? They ended up getting Bryce Underwood. I know they got a transfer to Mickey Keene. I think that he has a lot of talent. I can't wait to see what they're able to do with that over here. The Michigan team, the bread and butter on the recruiting trail from Jim Harbaugh all the way here has been the O-line, D-line. That is what wins football games. We just saw it in the Super Bowl last year with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Michigan is still going to be a dominant team. I still think they got a lot of talent left. Obviously, they took a lot of losses in the secondary and on the defensive line. I think they're just going to be able to rebound and come back. They still have Derek Moore. They still have Zeke Berry. They should still be pretty talented. Now, the fifth and final team for me is going to be the Illinois Fighting Illini, because I don't know what it is. I'm a big fan of Luke Altmaier. He is a really, really good quarterback. I really think that he is going to be a draft pick next year. I could be completely wrong on that, but he's pretty talented. Now, they do have some issues that I think that we're going to have to go over. Wide receiver, I don't know if I'm absolutely in love with it, but they did get Hudson Clement and Justin Bowick. Yeah, Justin Bowick from Ball State. I remember him well. And I believe they were, yeah, Hudson Clement from West Virginia. He went to Illinois. I believe that they're going to be okay. I believe that they're going to be in those kind of cases. I actually liked what they were doing last year. I think they're finally in competition in that Big Ten, and I think they can honestly do it. They have a pretty dang talented team. They're getting a little bit better, and they're just going to keep things going forward. I think they're going to be just fine. We're going to put Illinois as that fifth-rated team in the Big Ten. Now, if we're going to give anybody a possible shout, I think I would go with the Indiana Hoosiers. Okay, sorry, that was really derpy. Or I would probably say Nebraska, but I don't think Nebraska's just quite there yet, even though I think Dylan Raiola is going to come out and play some pretty good football. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the SEC because I know that those are the two that people are going to be talking about the most. So what we're going to talk about when it comes to them old Texas Longhorns, they're going to be the number one team. Yes, I personally don't know if I believe that they will be the number one team. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to buy the Arch Manning hype, and I'm going to lay down on my sword and be wrong. If Arch Manning is not the real deal, then I'm wrong here. And that's completely fine, but their recruiting has been solid. Their transfers have been solid. This team just tends to reload. They're getting a little bit better. I think their defense is going to be actually a lot better. I know Ryan Wingo is still over there, but I think their defense and their offense should be a lot better. Arch Manning, if he is everything that we believe that he can be, if he is that Peyton Eli mixed with a little bit of Archie in him, then he is going to be an animal. They're going to be a tough team. Then they're going to be the one that win the SEC. Now, number two, I think it's a pretty much a lock that the 2 and 3 teams, for me personally, I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to be right back there. And the reason why they don't have Carson Beck anymore, they have Gunnar Stockton. That team was still competitive with Carson Beck as a quarterback, and he really was not as good as advertised last year. And their defense, we already know that Kirby Smart is going to have a phenomenal defense. That's just what he does. He is a very good head coach, and I think that they're going to have things really rolling over there. And you're going to notice this is a trend. We know that these coaches are that good, and that's why these teams continue to be good every single year. Will we get any surprises? I think the SEC has a chance that we get a couple surprises in it. And for me, I don't think that we're going to get it here. Georgia, I think, is going to be the number 2 team in the SEC. Now, number 3, I'm going to go against the grain on this one. I'm going to pick Alabama. I believe a couple ratings have LSU and Tennessee above them. I personally disagree with that. I think that team's just going to be a little bit better. I think Ty Simpson is going to take things that he learned from Jalen Milroe, and he's going to come back. He's going to come out with a vengeance, and he's going to get the job done. Now, he could lose his job to Austin Mack. That could be an absolute issue over there in Alabama. But that team, man, we already know. Alabama does not rebuild, they reload. That is just how they do things around here. Their defense is going to be very good. Their offense, now that's the thing that needs to get a little bit more helped out with that. But you could even say that maybe we just get a little bit of transfers in here, right? We got Isaiah Horton from Miami. We got Brody Dalton from Troy. We got some guys that can play some football. So now we're going to build around our quarterback. We're going to build around Ryan Williams, and we're going to come back. We're going to be there. We're going to be an animal, and we're going to be one of those better teams in the SEC. Now, number 4. I think I'm going to give that one to the LSU Tigers. LSU Tigers, I think with the back of Garrett Nussmeier, they did also have another good recruiting season, another good transfer season. The Louisiana pipeline is just absolutely incredible for them every single year. Brian Kelly, the reason why I'm putting them at 4, and it comes down to coaching here. I don't trust him as much as I used to. He has not really played that great. At Orgeron, Les Miles, and Nick Saban, he's trying to become to those guys, but he hasn't became them just yet. Do I think that he has a pretty solid team? Yeah, absolutely. I think that he has brought in the best that you can possibly get. You've got some really big names over here. You got Berrien Brown from Kentucky and Nick Anderson from Oklahoma. You brought in some help. And now there's some other players coming in. You got to get things done. Your defense has to play a little bit better. Your offense should be better, but we'll see how that thing kind of goes down. Yeah. Overall, I think LSU is going to be a fine team. I'm going to put them at that number 4 position, and I think I'm going to lock that in. And I think I'm going to be happy with that. Now, the next team we're going to talk about in the SEC, and I know this is probably against the grain. As much as I'm a Tennessee Volunteers fan, I do not believe they're going to be in the top 5 of the SEC. I believe that distinction goes to the Florida Gators. Yes, is most of this based on how good I think that DJ Lagway is going to be? Abso-freaking-lutely. But I think that they have finally built this team around where they needed to build this team around. Billy Napier is my only concern right now because I don't know how I feel about him as a head coach. I think that he could absolutely ruin this whole thing. They do have a decent running back coming in with Jaden Ball, and now they still have DJ Lagway. I know they recruited a receiver from UCLA. I don't know his name right off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but I know that this team could end up being just fine. I think this team's going to be really, really solid. So yeah, let's go ahead and lock it in. We're going to go with Florida to be the 5th team in the SEC, and we expect them to be competing for them playoff spots or even the title in the SEC. All right, next up, we're going to the ACC. We're going back. We're going to Clemson. Yes, Clemson, one of those most dominant teams. And yes, I understand Dabo Sweeney tries to not take advantage of the transfer portal. I freaking love him for that, by the way. I think that is super cool. I know there's a couple coaches still trying to do just that. Like you look at people like Bill O'Brien, they're trying to do things just like that. Now, Cade Klubnik is a quarterback. That could be the real issue that you have to worry about there. Cade Klubnik, I think, will be the guy to be drafted in the NFL. I think he's going to be just fine. But he has had some issues with this last year. I think it's kind of going to have to be a show up and show out kind of season for him is the issue. That might be the only thing I worry about there. They still do have Antonio Williams coming. Their defense is going to have Avion Terrell, who he was really, really good too. But overall, I think Clemson's going to be just fine. They're going to have to play a little bit better because I believe they were one of those few teams that ended up with like 2 or 3 losses that ended up in the playoffs. You can't trust that that's going to happen again. So other than that, I think Clemson has a really good team. I know one of their losses was to Georgia, so technically you can write that one off the books because a lot of teams lose to Georgia. But Clemson's going to have to be a little bit better. Number 2, who do I got? I got the Miami Hurricanes. I know I've taken my shots at Carson Beck, but I don't think the thing is with Carson Beck, I think if Carson Beck is not the guy, they go with Emory Williams, and I like Emory Williams. I think he could be really, really good. He looked really good in the spring game anyway. Now, I could be completely wrong. He's a redshirt sophomore. We don't know what to see from him. But at the same time, he's going to be learning behind Beck, so we don't know what to expect from him. He could end up being balling out. He could play really, really good. I think Cristobal is going to be that really good coach. I know I say I think a lot because I do not quite know. And I'm not enough of a guy to tell you I absolutely freaking know. Now, their running game, I think, should be really solid. Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyell should be that backfield that you kind of want and that kind of thing. I think that they need a little bit of help in the receiver issues, but I think you're going to be able to make things work. I know they got C.J. Daniels. Yeah, C.J. Daniels from LSU. That's a good throw. That's a good throw, too. Yeah, overall, I think Miami's just going to be fine. Miami's going to be just fine. I think we lock them in, and we're going to put them at that number 3 position. Number 4, over here in the ACC, is going to be the SMU Mustangs. They have Kevin Jennings here. Kevin Jennings, he played a really, really good football last year. 3,200 passing yards. I didn't expect that out of an SMU quarterback, but he absolutely did. Jennings probably has a year or 2 left on him, too, and there's a good chance he could be drafted into the NFL here soon. They have some help coming in. They have some ends coming back with Cameron Thomas and Isaiah Smith. This defense should be even better. That's the crazy part. This defense should be even better. So if their offense is able to keep taking those steps in that right direction, SMU is going to be a credible threat. I don't know how I feel about them being like a playoff team, because the thing is with the Big Ten and the SEC, I think eventually they're just going to be dominating these. As much as I don't love it, I think that's just how things go here soon. But I think that we can enjoy while we can for now, and we lock in. We think our boys over here at SMU are going to be right back in the thick of it. Number 4, Louisville. Louisville. They won't have their quarterback next year. Miller Moss is here to take over. Miller Moss looked at the ACC and sees it as probably a little bit hell of a threat. He played really, really good against Louisville like a few years ago. So now that he's starting over there, it's kind of crazy to think about, isn't it? You think that this team could be really absolutely dominant? I believe so. Their running game should be pretty solid with Isaac Brown. Their wide receivers, Chris Bell, Colin Lacey, should be pretty good. Now, what where do we think Louisville kind of fits into that kind of picture? I don't know if they're a team that you're going to be looking at going, oh, this is a playoff team, but they absolutely could be. This offense looks like it could be a little bit dynamic. Looks like it could be really, really good. Yeah, I think we lock in with Louisville. I think we're pretty happy with what Louisville's putting out there on the field. I think they're going to be the fourth best team in the ACC, and we're going to be just happy with that. Now, my fifth and final team, that is going to go to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Haynes King's a good quarterback. He's a pretty solid quarterback. This team was really competitive last year. They nearly beat Georgia. They upset Miami. I believe they did upset Miami. I could be completely wrong. Let's make that very clear here. Sorry, I had something in my mouth. Now, this is a team that's been able to be, competitive. They brought back their play caller, Buster Faulkner. We haven't talked about that enough with these other teams, but Buster Faulkner did a really good job on the offensive side. He was putting some dents in Kirby Smart's defense, and there's not a lot of programs that can say just that. So, yeah, why not Georgia Tech? Georgia Tech is going to be one of those teams that can compete. They have the roster. It's just can they get themselves over that hump, get themselves into that picture? I believe that they could. I don't think that there's any reason that they cannot. Now, next up, we're going to the Big 12. Big 12, I think it's the most exciting conference in this entire thing. I'm going to try to do my best to make these logos not look like crap on this one. But we're going to start with the Arizona State Sun Devils. They still have Sam Livett, as far as I know. They didn't lose their quarterback. They lost Cam Scatibo or Scattaboo or Scattaboo. I don't know. Okay. But they got a little bit of help in the secondary from the transfer portal. I was reading up on this a little bit earlier with Breedlove and Wilson. I think their running game should be pretty solid, if I remember correctly. They have some pretty good team players. Medemeyer, was it Jordan Tyson? Yeah, Jordan Tyson. I was trying to read all these names, and I'm lost a couple of them. But their head coach is the guy that I really, really do believe in. That's Kenny Dillingham. Kenny Dillingham can play some football. All right, he can coach it. Maybe he can't play it, but he can coach it. I don't know. I haven't seen him play football. Maybe he's really good. You know what? You lost Cam. Maybe you should get on that field a little bit, run a little bit. Maybe you score a couple tutties. Get the job done. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'm going a little crazy here, but either way, I think they're going to be a pretty solid team. Why not? Why not Arizona State? They put Texas on the ropes last year. Can they get it done this year? Can they land them power punches from the clinch? I guess we shall see. Number 2, I'm going with she moves her body like an Iowa State Cyclone with Rocco Becht under the things. They're a pretty solid Big 12 team. They were very competitive all through last year. So, yeah, let's go with Iowa State here. Why not? Why not them? You know what I mean? I think Iowa State has a little bit of the roster that you can really go behind and get things going. They had a lot of bringbacks last year, as far as I can remember. I know that they did a little bit of work in that transfer portal. They still have their talented tight ends, Gabe Burkle, Benjamin Brahmer. You're going to be running a little bit of those fun little boom, and they still have a really good kicker. Why did I write down a kicker? I do not know, but I did, and I like him. He's going to be absolutely a dog. Still have Chase Sewell coming in. They have Xavier Townsend coming in. They're doing pretty good. Do you know what I mean? I think that they're going to be a pretty decent roster. Why would you complain, right? The Big 12 is going to be wide open. Iowa State is definitely one of those teams that you can see getting right back into the thick of it, like KSI. Next up, we're going with Kansas State University with Avery Johnson. He's very, very talented. I can't believe that he came back because I thought he was going to Tennessee. There was a lot of talk that Avery Johnson was going to transfer over there. By the way, I'm salty about it, but you're a very good player, so I'm happy to see you doing well. Your offensive line should be pretty solid. You're getting a little bit of help coming in from the cornerback position with Marion Fortenberry. Your tight end is still Garrett Oakley, who still has my favorite name right now because It just reminds me of Annie Oakley. I don't know why I love it, but I love it. So we're going to lock with that one. I like Kansas State. I think they're going to be a really good team. I think they're going to be one of those teams competing. But I don't know if I like them more than this next team. Who is the Colorado Buffaloes? Now, why do I love Colorado Buffaloes? Because they have Kaidon Salter coming in. I feel like that's not being talked about enough. I know that they lost Shedeur, and I know that they lost Travis Hunter, who is a phenomenal player, right? But you have Kaidon Salter, who is a very, very good player, and if he struggles, this guy Julian Lewis that I've heard so much about, I think they're going to be just fine. Their defense is going to get even better. They brought in some really, really talented coaches to come get these things done. Now, I understand being an NFL head or being a great NFL player doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach. But I personally think they're going to get things going over there. I like what they're doing over there. Pat Shermer as an offense coordinator is a little bit left to be desired, but you know what can you do over that? Colorado's going to be just fine. Colorado's going to be competing. I think Deion Sanders is going to have this team competing. I don't know if they're winning the Big 12, but I think they're definitely a contender. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on just how big of a contender that they can be. Now, my last team is going to be the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I know a lot of people probably would be expecting to see BYU in here. There's a little bit of issues going on with their quarterback play, so I'm just going to put them off to the side and pretend that I don't even know who they are. Behren Morton is coming back to Texas Tech. Their offense was pretty exciting at points last year. I think we're going to keep that going. We're going to keep things rolling in that right direction. Texas Tech's going to be a really dominant team. They're going to be a really solid team. They're going to keep things going. They're going to keep things working. They're going to be coming back. I don't know if this is a team that is competing at the top, but I think this is a team that's going to put a fight up with all these other 4 teams that I mentioned on this side over here. I think we're going to be just fine over here with Texas Tech. I'm going to lock in Texas Tech. We're going to go with that Big 12 roster, and we're going to be really, really freaking happy with it. I love it. I like it. Let's go with it. Now, that's going to be the end for today. Oh, wait. No, it is not, actually. We need to talk about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, because they're also going to be competitive. Reason I didn't bring them up, they're independent. But we're going to talk about them anyway. Now, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they are going to be a team that you have to worry about. That team is just going to get better. I love their head coach, and Marcus Freeman. First of all, the man has a beautiful face. I don't think there's a more handsome coach. Oh, wait, no, Dan Lanning's the head coach, isn't he? It's him or Dan. Yeah, it's definitely him or Dan. Both are incredibly handsome. Who are they bringing in? I think it's C.J. Carr. But Kenny Minchey, I know, is also a third-year sophomore, so it's probably going to be one of those two that's the starter. I didn't quite look at all their transfers. I forgot to. I know they still have Jeremiah Love coming back, Drake Bowen, Leonard Moore, Aiden Schuler. Yeah, they still have a really dominant team. Freeman's still going to put a really good team. I know there was a lot to be making up from, and they lost to NIU. Yeah, they went to the national championship, so shut it, brother. Notre Dame's going to be right back in the thick of it. No KSI, like I said earlier. We're going to be happy with it. I think they're going to be just fine. Maybe we'll predict the playoffs. I might do that here at the end of the video. We'll talk about it here in a minute. But either way, I appreciate y'all. Now, I can't because we got to talk about them G5 schools. But either way, thank you guys. If you did make it all the way to the end, please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Please leave a subscribe so I can keep these buddies coming out because I freaking love doing it. I love talking to you. If you can give me a minute, I'm going to give you love for life. I appreciate y'all so very much. Make sure to pray for all those unfortunate families that are happening down south. Hopefully everything's going well for them. Hopefully things get better. I'm so sorry for everything. Only thing we can do is move on, be better together, and be proud. Thank you all so much. If you did make it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so, so very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.